Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for tuning into the SportsCave on #Champs. This is your boy Juice.
Adolf.
Big Manny in the house.
And we got a great show for you this morning, regardless of how tired we are. Of course, we're going to talk about Cowboys. First things first, get a preview of the game 2. We're going to talk a little bit, or a lot of bit, about the fight last night. I think we have some interesting facts on that. And then we'll get into fantasy in week 2 of the NFL. So strap on in. Let's get this show on the road.
You're now tuned in to the Sports Cave on #Champs.
Good morning again. Welcome again to the Sports Cave. We are the podcast for real fans, by fans, for fans. We stream every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. So we want you to start your morning with us. We'll get you ready for everything that you need for your sports day. Just remember that we do take phone calls. We do chat with you guys, and if you cannot make it to tune in on Sunday mornings, remember that the show is available at 6:30 on Monday. So we'd like you to have subscribed to our community, so make sure you do that at #champs.tv.
And don't forget, we have our Facebook page, Instagram page. We're on Twitter at DaSportzCave. Check us out.
Man, I am excited for today's show.
Me too, bro.
I know I think everybody had a long night last night, but how can you not? How can you not? But
Yeah.
you know, as the consensus was last week, man. Let's just jump into what people want to talk about, and that's the Cowboys and game days on Sundays. Last week, we thought maybe we underrated the defense a little bit,
Yeah.
and maybe we gave too much credit to the Giants, but man, that defense was solid. Only gave up a field goal.
Yeah, they held them to a field goal. They did good. They held Brandon Marshall to one catch.
One catch.
Yeah, that was pretty remarkable. Sterling Shepard did his thing.
DeMarcus Lawrence, though,
Boy.
Yeah,
Ooh, man.
definitely.
He's finally turning it up, man.
Now, just
That was good to see.
to play devil's advocate, was that the Cowboys defense that good, or was the Giants offense just that bad?
You can say that. They've been struggling since the end of last year also, so
Yeah, their running
part
game
of
was
it. Without
lacking.
Beckham, though, they didn't have Odell Beckham. So
Which that kind of, we can focus on one player right there. You put all your pressure on Marshall, but
yeah. Odell Beckham's
I mean, you
trying
can
to
say
get a contract.
you
It
can
says
say
a lot.
no Odell Beckham, but at the same time, does your team get made by one player?
Yeah,
You know,
and
so-
Beckham hasn't had real big games against the Cowboys. I know he's known for the catch, but when you look at his overall numbers against the Cowboys, they haven't been that great. So that's good. I'm proud of the Cowboys. They did good, and they did the thing on offense too. They were efficient.
I think they were efficient. I would have liked to see more points get put up. I know that Dez was overthrown, that the pass when he cut in. I don't know if Dak was just jittery or what it was, but that he was wide open.
Yeah,
I have a bone to pick with the play calling, though, because how do you get on that close to the goal line and throw the ball 3 straight times?
oh, that was bad.
Yeah.
Having the best running back, arguably one of the best running backs in the game, is Zeke, and not give him the ball. I didn't understand that.
That remind you all the Pete Carroll
and
beast mode situation.
the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think-
bad calling. I agree with that completely.
I think that's a lot of people's concerns, is that Garrett's he's too conservative at this point, and you have young guys that can run, and he could
have
have
to
booted
get-
out.
The game didn't live up to the hype. It was a pretty much
It
a
was a snooze
letdown.
fest,
It was a
man. I was
snooze fest.
tired.
I was trading bobbles by
I mean, of course, I
halftime.
was excited that we were winning and stuff like that, but at the same time, I was expecting more fireworks than that.
I thought so too. Now, I'll take a win every day,
Yeah.
but just field goals and 1 touchdown to Witt, which is great. All props out to Witt, but I think they should have been a lot more explosive, and especially if you're winning, you're up, just take some chances. And again, the play calling, I think that's the consensus for everyone the last couple of years is Garrett's too conservative. We know what's going to happen. Basically, he's going to run on first down, then he's going to throw the next 2, or vice versa, and then the game plan is pretty obvious once the game starts, what he's going to do. And
Right.
he needs to mix it up, I think, a little bit.
Dez was quiet. I think we need to move Dez around a lot more than we do. It's pretty predictable.
He was
where
quiet,
he's
but
gonna
he was
be.
also
Yeah.
being covered by Jenkins, and he's always known.
North Star,
He has a
yeah.
record of shutting them down. So
Yeah,
He does, but he got open in the end zone.
there was some missed opportunities
Yeah.
by Dez too. Well, not necessarily always on Dez, but
Yeah.
there was a few chances that we had of him having a bigger game than what he did that could have turned it one way or the other for him. So
The winner of the night, as far as the internet goes, is Cole Beasley.
Boy,
That's
oh boy, sauce him up, baby. Sauce
man.
him
With
up,
that catch
burrito.
behind the back.
Do you think that catch is going to go supersede Odell's catch?
No, but it was pretty.
It was
But
a
it
pretty damn
should.
good catch.
It was
Because
awesome.
I've never seen one like that.
Yeah, that's what she
Oh.
said. Sorry.
So we got somebody here asking if Odell's going to play tonight, and I think he might.
He's been practicing
Been
steady,
practicing. I think
and
it's
from
still-
what we show, yes. I would have somebody, if possible, on your
Just
bench
in
if you're
case.
not, if you're speaking relative to
I'd
fantasy
be
football,
really
which I'm
paying
assuming you
attention to the
are.
injury report.
I would pay attention
Yeah.
to it, but it sounds like he's going to
time
practice.
is
He's
it?
been practicing in full Thursday and Friday.
If he quits
you know
being
the
a
time he's
diva,
It's
he might play.
9:39, but he plays later
He plays later today, so you got some time, and maybe have someone on Monday that can sub in.
if possible.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I think
anybody's out
officially he's
there.
still listed as questionable, but I mean, you're practicing. He's got to get in.
He's having dance offs, so he should be able
he should
to.
be okay. But man, yeah, I think him being out last week definitely had a part in our defense being a little more confident. But then once you started putting pressure on, I think they build on that, and they look solid, man. The D line looked great, man. Man, all you gotta do is pressure on Eli. I think we called it when Will's like, "How do you stop?" Eli Manning with all those weapons, and then Eli. That's how you
Same
stop him.
pressure.
You put some pressure on him, and he was garbage the whole night.
Yeah, if the dumb face was out.
It was out
Hey.
in a full effect. We like that.
Hey, the
Yes,
linebacker
we
core,
loved it.
though.
And
The linebackers,
Jalen
that's
Smith,
looking like a
legit.
Sean
good.
Lee,
They were
He's
supposed to
looking
limit
awesome.
his snap. They were supposed to limit his snaps.
They
and I
were
don't
going
think they
to,
did.
and then right before the game started, they actually listed him as the starter. So, and
I'm
he,
glad.
he
Me
stepped
too.
up to the challenge, and he was all over the field.
Right?
He
Corners
was
do well.
man. He had some closeout speed, man. Like
Yeah.
he was getting to the running back before corners were getting there, or at the same time as the corners, and then he almost had that fumble where he hit the
Yeah,
player.
we hit the man.
That
Him
was
and Sean
close.
Lee together. That Sean Lee is a captain out there, and no matter who comes and steps up, I think Sean Lee deserves a lot of credit. And I think he's one of the most underrated players on defense in the NFL because he's never mentioned. But if you watch the game, if you go back and look at it, he's at just about every play there. I mean, he's there.
He's disruptive. Yeah. He's
Very disruptive. He's definitely undercredited, I think, in as far as a defensive player. But he's the core, and I think now that he has some help there, man, that defense. I hope they can stay in that, and that's what we need. We need to put pressure to close in the box, and we need to put pressure on the quarterback, and that allows the corners to then do their work.
Yeah, speaking of corners, losing Skandrick's going to be a big deal for the Cowboys.
Yeah, he's
Right.
not going to be here today. I think maybe he might come back next week. They just put a plate, and then he's
Okay.
worried about his stitches.
So with him being out, who do you think will be the corner that steps up?
Looking what Awuzie. There's.
Awuzie needs to step up. He was kind of
Jordan
quiet.
Lewis, is Jordan Lewis playing today?
I don't think so. I don't think he's clear to play yet.
And our safeties need to just be, our safeties weren't even talked about last week, which is, I guess, is a good thing.
Yeah.
Nobody got burnt. That's usually when you hear like Heath, he's always just getting
We're
burnt.
known for that. Yeah, we're
And-
known for that. So that
And it was kind of
They
quiet.
shut down Brandon Marshall.
They
That's for
did,
sure.
man. They did a damn good job, I think, of taking care of Marshall, who should have been a big threat. But if to our benefit, he wasn't. Which
right, big time.
So that was a my bad on
Yeah.
on
My
that
bad.
starter on that
Our
pick.
bad.
So
My
sorry.
bad. Sorry.
Yeah, we definitely had some people asking if they should start Marshall, and we said yes, and we were wrong about that. We were wrong about a lot of picks last week.
Not all of them.
But we
Not
were-
all.
we
that
were-
was definitely one. I
There was
wrong
one that
about.
we're
still
like,
drop
"Ugh."
some
It's all
gems on
good.
y'all.
It's all good. It's all
Yeah,
good.
we dropping gems on y'all in a minute, but I think I'm excited for today's game. I think the Cowboys are still favored against the Broncos. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I think it's going to be not so much their offense against our defense. I think it's going to be our offense against their defense is going to be the match to watch and see how they produce. I mean, regardless of what Denver does, Denver's defense is solid.
Yeah, Von Miller. He's
Von
gonna
Miller's
be all
going to
over
be,
the place.
I want to see Von Miller and Zeke. They
Shane
battle
Ray,
that
yeah.
out, man.
See,
Shane Ray,
once
too,
he gets to
man.
the second level, can Zeke get past Von Miller and make some moves?
I want him to put some
Maybe
hits on him.
Even I want to see them go head to head.
That'd be fun.
Right.
That's going to be a fun watch.
Yeah, they're no fly zone defense. Akeem Talib, Chris Harris, they're pretty awesome. They look good. For the first half of their
Chargers
first
game.
game of the Chargers
Yeah.
game, definitely they look
Akeem
dominant.
Talib-
Second half, Phillip Rivers was able to get to them, so hopefully we'll be able to do what the Chargers were able to do late in that game.
I was listening to a scouting report on Aqib and Talib, and he's burnable. He's very physical up front, but if Dez can just make a step and get around him, he's not as quick as Dez. So
Yeah,
that's where I'm tossed up.
What
in fantasy.
I'm worried about, Dez, is I'm not worried about the football stuff. I'm worried about the mental stuff because Talib is known to snatch a chain. He's known to get in their heads. He's that type of dude, and Dez is one of those guys that can be derailed sometimes from.
I think he was like that
He
last week.
He got a little bit of that from Jenkins last week.
last week.
So when Dez gets like that, sometimes they can take him out of the game. Yeah. So
I think Norman exposed him of getting into his head last year,
Exactly.
and I think the guys are taking advantage of that. But yeah, Aqib Talib is gonna, man, don't wear your chain, Dez.
Yeah.
Don't he'll snatch that. And
Ooh,
they're very.
if he was to
the
snatch
Soto style.
Dez's
They're
chain,
both out.
I think it's gonna be some ejections coming
yeah,
into
Dez
that.
is still from Texas, y'all. We don't mess around out here with our gold like that.
Yeah,
but,
no, sir, definitely.
But that's a good matchup to watch too.
Simeon too on the offensive side. Simeon looked good. It wasn't pretty, but he was in there.
He was effective.
He was effective, able to get touchdowns and able to rush when he didn't have anything to throw. He wasn't rushing anything or wasn't forcing anything.
Oh, was the Chargers defense just not that good?
Bosa was there. He shook
Bosa
there.
Bosa was working.
What I want to see is Simeon try to shake Jalen Smith like that or shake Sean Lee like that. He's going to get hurt. So.
Sean Lee doesn't bite too much. I mean, he doesn't over pursue too much either. I think he's really good at containing the outside. So
and he knows how to tackle.
Yeah, he can wrap up. I mean, that's just your classic linebacker. But my thing is, are we gonna try to put some pressure on them, knowing that they really don't have a run game? I mean, their run game's not that effective, and we can stack the box. But I want to see some more rushes from the Cowboys defense. Yeah, some more blitzes and utilize Jalen Smith's speed. Like let him just go sometimes. I mean, just dog ear and just point and go. And
I'm hoping for a repeat from our defensive tackles from last week. Man, they held it down last week.
They did.
They didn't get a lot of people talking about them, but our defensive tackles held it down last week.
Yeah, and they switched a lot. A lot was mentioned about them switching to zone defense in the secondary, so that helped them also. So that was a new look from the Cowboys, and that stumbled Eli, so that helped us win.
Yeah.
I think that we definitely have another matchup with the quarterback that we could put some pressure on and have him second guess himself and maybe get a secondary, get a pick.
Yeah, Anthony Brown got him one last week.
They got some dangerous weapons with Emmanuel Sanders and with Demaryius Thomas. And Sanders, I'm debating on whether to start against the Cowboys just to add some fantasy element to it because of the Cowboys' questionable secondary. He's somebody I'm leaning towards starting today. Even though he's playing against my beloved Cowboys, I think he could be productive.
He can be, especially if you put him in the slot.
Yeah. Sterling Shepard was playing in the sharp and put up some points last week.
And I had him on my league because I had to have the guys that were out for the postponed game. And
that's Sterling Shepard's position. I'm not sure if he played in the slot.
I think one of the keys to our game on the offensive side this week will be same thing as last week. We got to get Jason Witten involved.
We do.
Because they got some good corners that might be all over our receivers, so that should leave some room for Jason Witten to do his thing. And he looked good last week, man. It looks like he's just every year in and out, he's always just producing. So I think he could be one of the keys to our offense this week.
I think it'd be a key for the run game. Yeah, especially if you get him in there and have him chip and then just go out and get open, then you're gonna have draw linebackers over there, and that just leaves it open if you do. If it's a play, So I don't know, man. I think they don't invite. It really depends on the flow of the game because I think Dak he's a little streaky if he feels that pressure. He's definitely going to go to his go-to, which is Cole, which he always is open. So I mean,
Cole. I was just about to say Cole Beasley led in receptions, and he pretty much looked like he's going to continue that this year.
I think so, man. I think I think people are starting to pay attention to him.
T. Will had a pretty good game for us last week too, man.
He did.
He
and
came
in
the clutch too, man.
I was scared of that ankle injury, but he came back and played. I think it's going to be a better matchup than people think. I'm not hoping for another snooze fest, but I'll take a win over that tough defense any day, whether it's a low scoring game or not.
What about the Cowboys starters? Are y'all going to be starting? Like, would you be reluctant to start Dez?
I have Dez as my top wide receiver. So when you draft somebody that high, you don't have a choice but to just play him every week.
I think
Zeke, would you be nervous?
No, I think they can run on. I think they can run. I think our offensive line is just that good. Even they showed it last week, and I don't think they gave Zeke the ball enough last week. I think they should have let him run and pound it, ground and pound.
What about
the Giants have one of the top defenses in the league too. Yeah. Don't get it wrong. Have their
front seven is good,
and we Zeke was running on them. So I mean, it was a good warm up for him to go into the Broncos defense to go up against the Giants defense like that.
Right.
I think.
What about Dak? Would y'all be confident starting Dak against the no-fly zone?
I have him as a backup.
I don't think I would have him as a
starter.
QB
I have him as a,
Right,
and
not today,
I'm
right?
starting Mariota over him just because
there's options out there.
in the event that they do hunker down and put some pressure on him, he can run out, but they can shut him down. I mean, they can't.
I think it's going to be a time of possession type of game where we're going to have to try to control the clock by running the ball. So it's and the same thing with the Broncos.
Love that. Yeah. So, what about C.J. Anderson against the Cowboys? How do y'all feel?
I wouldn't.
Cowboys have a good run defense.
We have
solid
a good
run
front
defense.
line. And then again, you have core linebackers that are looking like two-headed monsters out there. Like I don't know.
I think with every game that goes through, Jalen Smith is going to get more confidence, and that's going to help our running game too. Because man, he can get to the outside, he can go up the middle. It don't matter with him, man.
And as good as the game they had last week, I still want to see what the secondary can do.
Yeah.
They did have a good game against the Giants, but I'm leaning a little more towards the Giants just being that bad.
Yeah, the Broncos are a better team from what I've seen so far this season.
And they're playing in Denver. So
and that's a big deal. The altitude and mile high. They're one of the best home teams ever.
That's a great home field advantage.
Yeah,
right there.
big time. So, do we got anything going on the chat, or move on to the next game?
I think everybody's still hung over.
Everybody's still good. It's all good.
We have a Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson question.
Okay.
Who do you start?
Okay, so we got Kirk Cousins. Let's see, Washington versus the LA Rams. Ooh, he had a rough game last week. I personally started him. He didn't do so great. And then we got Seattle versus San Francisco.
I'm going Russell Wilson.
I would go Russell Wilson.
Exactly. As soon as I saw that,
I
my face
I don't
lit
even
up.
think that's a question for me.
What did the Rams score you, like 40 points last week?
I have Russell Wilson starting in one of my leagues today.
Yeah, the Rams defense was dominant last week. They scored me 31 personally, and that was my drop a gem on them call of the week. And so I would definitely be reluctant. We had 2 fumbles last week. I believe an interception also. It was a bad day for Kirk Cousins. I would wait one more week and go with Russell Wilson. San Francisco is one of the worst rushing defenses. Also, I think Russell Wilson will also get you those rushing yards, which, as that adds up. So.
That adds up. Yeah, that's a good question, and but I think the consensus is, and I think we're going to be right this week for sure, is start Russell.
Great question. And I appreciate it. I mean, we all have our own stuff that we're going to or that we're going to address today, and we're talk about each game and just the fantasy guys that we have going.
Yeah, let's jump into the next game. We got some games, man. We got some good games. As much as you want to talk about the Cowboys, we definitely have a good week, too. I mean, week 1 was great. It was full of surprises.
It was okay.
It was like, Jacksonville, that was to me, was like, what? Like, I thought Houston would have done a lot better. But Jacksonville, hey, man, if they can play with their defenses now ranked up high, I think I forget who they're playing, but I had someone playing against them. And they're ranked up.
They're playing
there.
Tennessee Titans.
Tennessee, so Mariota is.
Let's start with that game then. Let's just roll into that. Tennessee versus Jacksonville Jaguars.
Tennessee had a good game last week, I think, against Oakland. I think Oakland, like we kind of called it, they just edged it out because they have a little more weapons. But that was a great game to watch. I think we'll have to see how Jacksonville's true team is, and if they play like they played last week against Houston and have that defense step up, then Mariota, he'll have a tough matchup. I think.
Are you nervous as a Mariota owner?
I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
I can't discredit Houston. I mean, Houston still has weapons out there, and they even though they had a snooze fest on Thursday again, I think
stop me when you've heard that.
I think Tennessee. I think they can still edge it out.
I mean, Tennessee had their running game was not good at all last week, though. No. And that's one thing with Jacksonville's defense, the way that they're set up. They shut down Houston's running game. If they can do the same thing to Tennessee, it's going to make it tough for Mariota, to in the passing game if they can't get the running game. Because I think he benefits more when the running game is on point than when it's not. And that was evident against Oakland too. Because I think that's what Oakland had the advantage on, that they were, able to throw the ball more efficiently than Tennessee was, because they couldn't get the running game going. And Oakland had Marshawn Lynch did pretty good. Yeah. So, I mean, for his first game back, from being retired or supposedly retired.
Yeah, Oakland had an appearance by Jared Cook last week. So I have Delaney Walker, so I'm very interested. And I'm hoping if Jared Cook can do that, I'm hoping Delaney Walker can do that, since they're going to be really solid on the corners. I think he's going to have a big game today. I'm hoping for that at least. I'll be a little worried if I was a Corey Davis owner or Rashard Matthews owner,
right.
Eric Decker, those type of guys. I'd be a little worried about playing them.
Leonard Fournette for real?
I think so.
I think so.
He
man.
had 26 touches last week. I have him on both teams, so I was smiling ear to ear. I was happy. He put up 20 points for me last
solid
week.
Pickup,
So,
man.
he's a rookie. They're going to feed him the ball over and over. He's young, so I think they're going to continue to do that. I think he's for real.
I think he's a for real running back. I think that there's a lot of rookies that we'll get to when we go to the games that proved themselves last week, and Leonard Fournette was definitely. I was excited to see what he was going to do, and that was a good pickup, man. Especially if you got him in 2 leagues. That's a good. You always got. It's always shaky to trust a rookie, but I think he's legit. I think he's solid. I think he's going to have a good year.
To me, just watching him at LSU, he looked like a pro back last year, and I just figured he'd continue it.
He runs his hard too, man. He runs very hard.
Yeah, he runs. I like his style. In Jacksonville, they've always produced running backs. I've rolled with shoelaces there. I've rolled with random guy. I mean, Jones Drew back in the day, but. Chris Ivory, they've had a lot of different running backs that they'll constantly feed whoever it is that's their number one guy. So that made me.
And they might help Bortles too, man. But
yeah,
losing Robinson was kind of hard for them. So
man, that's a tough loss.
That's a tough
Allen
loss,
Robinson
man.
being out for the
so
season.
With him being out, who do you see stepping up more, Marquise Lees or Allen Hurns?
The big answer, the obvious answer is
Marquise
to me is Allen Hurns, just due to their old production together.
Yeah.
Marquise Lee, though, at the end of last year, he was a waiver wire pickup, and a lot of people were rolling with him in the playoffs. He came on strong. He didn't get any catches last week, though, so it's tough to say. Are you confident in starting that guy this week?
I did pick up Allen Hurns in the waiver wire, though.
Hurns,
I got a feeling he can with Robinson being out, he's gonna step up and do something.
They've got that old rapport. Like, you can't doubt on Hurns. He puts up good games.
He puts up solid
They used to get a
numbers.
lot of touchdowns. I loved their offense like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. 2 years ago, basically last year, they fell off big time, and a lot of people were betting that they would pick it up again.
They picked up a lot of garbage time points too.
They always do.
They
Those
always do.
count too.
You can't count them out. Those,
sure.
whether they win the game or not, if you're playing fantasy, that's something you got to take into effect. Is that if they're down, they're going to throw the ball, and that's when you have your weapons, and that's kind of what especially in our league, it's a PPR, so it does. You get more touches. It does. And
Hurns is one of those that could take one to the house. You know what I mean?
He can.
So. He makes plays. He's clutch. He's got some good hands, especially in the end zone.
Good morning, Tony. Thank you for tuning in. He does have a question: Martavis Bryant or Nelson Aguilar?
Ooh,
that's a good
I would
one.
say Nelson Aguilar.
The way he played last week, against the Kansas City defense.
In my work league, I had
I would still roll with
Martavis
Aguilar.
Bryant. He didn't do much last week, and Nelson had a good game last week.
He looked awesome. I'm playing against him in our Chubb league, and I'm kind of nervous about it. But he's got a good rapport with Carson Wentz going right now, a lot better than Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah.
I'm actually benching Alshon Jeffrey, if that says anything, Tony. So I would definitely go with
Nelson
Aguilar, excuse me. Yeah.
I had Martavis Bryant. I would figure he'd have a lot more production last week, but Cleveland held them down. I mean, even Le'Veon Bell didn't have many points.
And to talk about Bryant, too, he's playing against Minnesota's defense.
Yeah.
They're both playing tough defense.
They're playing tough defense.
Yeah.
I would probably personally give the edge to Nelson Aguilar just because he has the consistency. Martavis Bryant's coming back. They have a lot of weapons in Pittsburgh, so they have to spread the ball around if they have to, and everybody can eat there.
Let's go ahead and talk about that Minnesota-Pittsburgh game. Get into it. Like Antonio Brown too, he took up a lot of catches.
He did
last week. He got a lot of targets. Jesse James had their red zone catches. He had 2 touchdowns. He was outsnapped by Vance McDonald and still got those touchdowns. So a lot of people are going to chase Jesse James, but Vance McDonald was in the game more. So good luck with that. That's going to be tough.
That should be a good game
to watch out for. Yeah, I didn't really get to watch the Monday night game, but from what I hear, Bradford was lighting it up big time.
He was very efficient.
I saw the highlights.
He surprised a lot of people. I know that. He surprised me. I didn't think he was going to have a game like that.
He was a big time pickup on the waiver wire. If they didn't have him, some people already had him in our leagues.
Yeah.
Him and the receiver, I can't think of his name right now.
Thielen?
Thielen went off, and then the younger cat.
Man, it's Sunday morning at
It
the fight
is.
night.
Oh my God, Tony's boo. I can't even think of his name right now.
It'll
I know
come to
the
you
running
just-
back. The running back had a hell
Number
of a
14.
game.
Yeah. Oh,
Dalvin
Dalvin Cook.
Cook.
They had a
Dalvin
good
Cook.
game. Yeah,
He's for real.
I can't think of his name right now, but yeah, their whole offense looked good. So
surprisingly good.
yeah,
I think with Bradford, we gave Bradford some crap for being just a bus driver, but he's efficient. He was efficient last week enough to put up a good game.
Le'Veon Bell had a quiet game.
Very quiet game.
Very quiet, dude. I think he only got me like 7 points in one of my leagues
For a top 3 pick. Ooh.
Yeah, man, that was rough against Cleveland. I thought for sure he would eat, man, and get some points and
Maybe
at least some
Cleveland's
yardage.
defense is better than people think. They put a lot of pieces in that defense this year. So
Yeah, but yeah. So that I would. Tony's also asking about Philly and Kansas City.
The Philly Kansas City game.
Oh, no, he was just saying who they were going up against on that question.
Oh, okay. I don't know, man. That's Philly. Man, as much as I hate them, they can be good, and I want to see Kansas get tested better than the Pats did. That should be a good game.
Yeah, I think so too. But I see Kansas City coming out of that game.
I think they would have.
They're
the
going to
edge.
get to wins.
If they I think Kansas has the ability to put that pressure on and still have that tough defense, and if they can repeat what they did last week against New England and surprise everybody, then the Philly's gonna have a tough night.
I think they have question marks on their running game too. So
yeah,
I think they're going to be one dimensional, and that's going to be bad for.
I think a lot of people thought LeGarrette Blount will do better over there, and he didn't really do a lot last week either.
I don't know. I think I like Kansas in that game. As far as fantasy though, if they're trailing, then they're gonna throw the ball. Then that's a good question there about Nelson Aguilar. What other games we got coming up?
We got Arizona and Indianapolis.
Arizona, you get the fail of the week, man. How do you lose that lead like that? Their defense, I had them fantasy wise. I had that they were up there with like 30-something points because of sacks and all that. And then I look at it later on because we had some family issues going on, and I looked at it later on and I was like, what? They now have 16. They lost the game. I mean, Matt Stafford, did you have him in one of your leagues, or did you start him?
I had to end up starting him because Jameis Winston had that game that was canceled and turned out good for me. I edged out my win by like 0.10 of a point.
Yeah, he put up like 30-something points,
like 35 points,
and he was slinging it from what I saw, man. So Arizona's defense is good, but how did you just let up and lose that lead like that?
Yeah, they look bad to me.
But they're playing Indy, so
yeah, they should win though. This should be a bounce back
Arizona
win.
looking bad. Indy looked horrible.
Yeah, they look really
bad.
Man,
their quarterback situation is screwed without Andrew Luck.
Tolzien was horrible. LA Rams were teeing off on him.
The Rams
like
had a blowout.
The scrimmage game.
Frank Gore wasn't able to get much done. They are rolling. Indy is rolling with Jacoby Brissett today, so they may look a little different. He hadn't been in their offense long, so we'll see how that goes.
Arizona should be able to get this game back and make up for last week.
I think so too.
Indy's looking atrocious.
They did lose David Johnson though, and all the fantasy owners
make a big
too.
difference, man.
Now they have.
Will that make
changer.
defenses start stacking the box on them now?
Oh, I know for sure that their running backs are definitely used first. They stick to their game plan. You have one that's going to take the first down. You're going to have one that's a third down back. And I think they're going to use all. I think they're going to use all 3 running backs, and that kind of is. You got to be careful with that. As fantasy wise, you got to be careful with that because that's all 3 of them are going to eat something. But
which one of the 3 you see stepping up with them bringing back Chris Johnson? Then they got Andre Ellington and then Williams. So
the big name is Kerwin Williams.
I think Williams will get the first 2 touches, probably
chances. Yeah, I think he'll get the first dibs at the starting job from what I've seen. And
I know
they're pretty loyal to their starting or running backs.
I think they said for sure that Andre Ellington is their third down back, who's going to catch out of the backfield.
That makes sense.
So it's Chris Johnson may get the second down depending on how Williams is, but I think Williams is going to get the majority of the touches.
I wouldn't trust in either guy. Did y'all happen to pick them up on the waivers?
I picked up Ellington, and I didn't even remember I picked him up, but I had to get rid of a few players on my
dead weight.
I had some dead weight that I was like, man, I got to get rid of these guys and pick up somebody. So
I stayed away. I don't trust that running back by committee that they're going to start over there.
And what about Indy starters? Any Frank Gore? I ended up dropping him.
Yeah, I didn't.
Jack Doyle, I ended up dropping him also. I'm not confident in their offense at all. What about T.Y. Hilton? Would y'all start him?
It's tough when you don't have a quarterback to get someone that they're
I'd have to probably bench him for this week to see what Brissett is going to do, and if he can handle it or at least be a suitable quarterback for them, then maybe start him next week.
Yeah, it's tough to sit T.Y. because I'm sure people got him pretty early.
They got him. Yeah, he's probably up higher in the second round.
With that quarterback controversy though, and then with Arizona's secondary, man, that's tough. I don't know.
Yeah.
It also depends on who you have on.
But
on your team.
Again, Detroit sliced them up. So.
Yeah. See, that's the thing is they came back from a big lead and lost it. So. It was Detroit, but Detroit can always is a threat every game. I mean, you can't count out Matt Stafford, and he's a gunslinger.
Hey, I called him to go to the playoffs, so I know what you're talking about. I'm just saying.
I got you. And the player I meant to mention earlier was Stephon Diggs, who I think is going to have a pretty good game against Pittsburgh too. So and Thielen also. We didn't really mention much on the Vikings. Threats.
Thielen was getting picked up a lot by a lot of different.
He's solid. He ended strong last year. He's gonna be doing pretty good, I think, especially with Bradford if he can keep it up.
If Bradford can keep it up, yeah, he's potential to get hurt though as soon as you push him down.
That's true. That's true, man. Atlanta versus Green Bay.
I think that's gonna be the game of the week. That's gonna be a good game, and they're playing in Atlanta, correct?
That's gonna be a shootout. They're playing in Atlanta on turf, so
in the new stadium.
On the turf, it's gonna become a shootout to me. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fantasy implications in this game. So a lot of big names going down in this game. You got Rodgers versus Ryan, then you got Julio versus Jordy. Then you got Deontay Freeman, and you got
Julio Jones,
Randall Cobb, Adams. So there's a lot of big names going down in this game. It's good, and if it becomes a shootout, it's gonna be a big impact on fantasy for a lot of people. So
my matchup is definitely I'm watching that one. I'm playing my brother-in-law Chris, and he's got Julio, and I got Matt Ryan. So that's definitely a help for me because I know they can go off when they're at home, and if I have the quarterback and hits, they'll cancel each other out. But I think that's going to be a really good game. I'm surprised that I thought I would have figured Atlanta would have taken care of business a lot sooner with Chicago last week.
They should have.
They should have, and they look pretty sloppy. So I'm hoping for a better game. I think you're right. It's going to be a shootout. These two high-power offense. Last year, the Falcons took care of business for the playoffs, but I think it's a new year. If they don't stay as sloppy as they were last week, I think they'll have a good game, and it'll be a high-scoring game.
What quarterback do you think will have the bigger game?
I think Matt Ryan's gonna have a bigger game just because he's at home. They're opening up the stadium, so I'm sure they're amped up and hyped up.
Give me Rodgers. Green Bay's defense looked pretty good last week, and I'm ready to see both defenses to see how they act against both teams. A lot of these, they're both solid defenses, so I assume most fantasy players have them too. So I'd be pretty nervous if I was starting either defense against these offenses. This
is definitely going to be one that you really can't lose if you have either quarterback or they're playing each other. They're both going to put up numbers.
Montgomery also, we haven't even brought him up.
Ty Montgomery,
he should be a good
option. I got him in one of my fantasy
interesting
leagues,
option.
So
we'll see
he looked good last
today.
week.
Yeah,
he looked like a starting running back last week. So
it is a Sunday night game, so everyone's going to get to watch that one. But who do you have edging it out? Who do you think is going to win?
I'm rolling with Green Bay.
Green Bay?
Just based on last week.
It's a tough one. This is a tough one.
It's a tough one. I want to say Atlanta, but I think Green Bay might just edge them out. But I think it's going to be closer than it's not just going to be a blowout. I think it's going to come down to one or two plays that big plays that are made that's going to make the difference in the game.
Yeah.
I'm calling Atlanta. I'll be different.
And we didn't really even make picks on the Pittsburgh-Minnesota game. Who do y'all go with on those?
I'm gonna roll with Pittsburgh. I think they still have enough to get it done.
Same here, Manny.
Yeah, they looked rough last week. Pittsburgh did. Minnesota looked great. I want to believe in Minnesota, but I haven't seen enough to think that they can knock off Pittsburgh right now. Yeah. I think Pittsburgh just has a little bit of an edge just because they're used to winning. They have a little bit better talent on the offensive side. And their defense, man, T.J. Watt looked great, man.
He did.
Awesome.
I think he could be a playmaker for him last week. So he was a big playmaker for him last week. I think he can get to Bradford and disrupt his, disrupt him a little bit. It could be the difference in the game. So I'm gonna roll with Pittsburgh on this one.
For sure.
And then what else did we have?
Tennessee and Jacksonville. We didn't pick that one really.
I'm rolling Tennessee.
I picked Tennessee. Manny.
I'm gonna go out on the limb and go with Jacksonville on this one, man.
Nice.
All right. Yeah.
And then we
That's
did mention what else? Washington and LA.
Well,
I'm gonna roll with
let's go
LA.
on that one. Let's go
Yeah.
on that one. Yeah, Washington versus LA. We briefly discussed it. You're saying you're going with the
I'm
Rams?
going with LA. I think their defense. That was a really good performance they had last week. I don't know. I know it was a sorry team that they played, and maybe they're having troubles and turmoils over there. But I think their defense has always been pretty stacked and pretty one to watch for, and always been a good fantasy pickup too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, depending on who they play. But I don't know. Washington has enough. If they bring that same performance to get over that hump.
Washington's been sloppy like all season.
Yeah, they look very sloppy to me. There was no consistency on their team on Sunday. It just looked like they were defeated for half the game. So I don't know. I think I'd have to go with the Rams. I think the Rams are going to come on, high off that win and just know that what they're capable of, level that they're capable of playing. Yeah. Goff looked pretty good.
He's chunking it.
He was chunking it, man.
He surprisingly did better than I thought he was.
Cooper Kupp stepped up.
Right
you know what I'm saying?
We dropped a gem on you on that one, too. We also let you know about that.
Chris, you should have never dropped him full. Thank you.
Impatient.
Right. Hey.
Yeah, he put up. I picked him up.
I think I'd have to go with the Rams on this one. And not to mention, I want them to win because, that's our rival, with the Redskins.
With the Redskins,
I'll take a loss against one of our division foes.
I got you. I'm rolling with Washington this week. I'm hoping Cousins bounces back because I have him as my fantasy quarterback. So I'm hoping he's not just done for the season. I'm debating on dropping.
I really hope they don't win because Adolph's gonna be here. How you like that?
Right.
Like that?
So we'll see. Yeah.
How you like that?
I've had a lot of those. He helped me win a championship at one time, but prior,
Man.
I don't have no
we'll
more
see
love
with
for
prior.
him.
Crowder was quiet last week. I don't know if I would roll with Crowder against the Rams prior.
And Crowder usually eats
Terrell
a lot.
Pryor,
He gets a
yeah,
lot of.
he
He gets a lot of looks.
I didn't
man.
hear nothing from him last week.
You know who did good? Who was on my bench? And I picked up in another league, Chris Thompson, their running back.
Yeah.
He catches a lot. I got him as one of my sleeper picks, and even Yahoo tried to diss me on that. But I was like, hey, he did pretty good last year, and this year he did good. He had a nice touchdown. I think he might have a couple nice little catches. He seems like the safety valve for Cousins right now, since he's missing some of his other receivers left. So
I think he may need him because I think if LA wants to tee off, they can.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
If LA wants to tee off, I think they can.
And then Donald should be playing in this game.
I can't wait to see him. I have the Rams defense still. I didn't drop him because
I would have dropped him.
They're playing San Francisco again next week. So
That's
I was
a
like,
solid
hey,
pickup,
I'm
man.
gonna just keep him and keep rolling with him until something bad happens.
they've consistently done good, and I think now that they've had some good matchups, they really show what they can do. And I think everybody was impressed with how they handled Indy. And I mean, that was a lot of points. I saw that. I was like, man, they scored how many points?
I'm gonna see Samuel Watkins gonna step up and do a little bit more than he did last week. He did okay, but I want to see more from him before I start him. I have him on my bench, so that's a player to look out for me.
Frustrating talent. Like it's there. He has everything. It's just when is it gonna go off? When is he gonna pay off?
And when he's not gonna get hurt.
Yeah, definitely.
That's true.
The Baltimore versus Cleveland game. You don't have any feelings on that one?
Man,
it's going to be a defensive game.
Yeah, Cleveland actually held their own against Pittsburgh, man. So Baltimore's defense also had a good game. I know fantasy-wise they put up a lot of numbers last week.
Looking special. We'll try to tell you about them, too.
Man, I picked them up. I had to drop. I, for some reason, had the Patriots defense thinking they were going to do good, and I dropped them and luckily picked up Baltimore. So,
nice.
So that was one of my picks and drops. But I think Baltimore's defense, their offense surprised me, too. They did that good.
Macklin had a good game. I benched him, and I should have played him.
He had a big play downfield. He's still got his speed. He's getting up there in age, but he's still got his speed once you let him loose.
He's very reliable. That should be a good game. I think it's going to be a better game than we think it's going to be.
They had a big injury. Baltimore had Danny Woodhead go out for the season. So
again,
I think I'm just going to have to go with Baltimore just on the experience part of it. I think Cleveland is doing something. They look like they're getting their things together, but they're still kind of inexperienced a little bit. Frazier looked good, but he's still a little inexperienced too. There was still a couple of plays he made that you expect from a rookie quarterback like that. But I mean, he was also playing against Pittsburgh, and he looked the part. So we'll see.
Well, it's not going to get any easier this week with Baltimore. So
yeah,
But I think I'll take Baltimore, edge it out.
I got you. Me too, definitely. And as far as like fantasy goes, y'all starting anybody or have anybody playing? You playing Macklin today?
I'm gonna
now?
play Macklin this
for
week.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I had Crowell in my other league. He didn't do so well, and I was able to pick up Cohen. So I'm not rolling with Crowell this week.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna bench him.
What do you think about on the running game for Baltimore?
Buck Allen.
Allen.
If you have PPR, Buck Allen, because
definitely.
of him being the catching threat. And Baltimore has actually thrown more to running backs than any other team in the league. So Buck Allen.
If you haven't picked him up, that's a good pickup. He's there. He's
they
still
have
available.
They have somebody else, right? That
Terrence West.
West. He's there. I already told you how
Then
I
they
feel
picked
about him.
up Jeremy Langford too.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's interesting. Langford's pretty good. He's shown flashes when he was with Chicago. So
Yeah.
we'll see if he's able to do anything. He can catch.
That's one player that I did avoid is Danny Woodhead, man, because I know Baltimore's a good team to be on, but he's always hurt. Like he stays hurt.
Yeah,
It's his size.
Hopefully he'll get better.
Oh man,
A lot of hits you take at that size, man.
Yeah.
It starts catching up to you.
And this one, I believe, it was a hamstring injury. Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
who knows when he'll come back? But I think Baltimore
They
Yeah,
can.
put
those
him on
linger.
IR, didn't they?
Yeah, they did put him on IR. So yeah, and I don't know about any Cleveland wide receivers, anybody that Kenny Britt, Corey Davis.
I mean, Kenny Britt's old timer that,
Corey Davis did pretty good last year.
but
last week.
none of them really put up anything.
But
that
yeah, I wouldn't start
impressive.
anybody against Baltimore. Yeah.
If Baltimore has another performance like last week too, like I said, man, they should be. It's going to be a defensive snoozer, I think. But I think it's going to be a better
That's
game.
not a game I'm going to tune in.
Right.
Yeah, but I
it's
think it's
not
going to
one
be
I'm locked in on.
It's probably a better game than we think it's going to
13-10
be.
type of game, I believe.
9-9.
Yeah. And the black and blue division is Chris Berman used to call it. Buffalo versus Carolina.
That's a pretty interesting matchup, man.
Buffalo was impressive.
Right. Tyrod Taylor looked good.
He did look he looked decent. I think Carolina though is gonna edge it out. That's my. I'm going Carolina.
I think they got a stronger defense. That middle linebacker Kuechly, man,
Yeah.
he looked good last week.
Yeah.
So-
now that you say that, I'm getting nervous about starting Charles Clay because I
Yeah.
have Charles Clay and he's their number 2 receiver. He's a tight end, but he's their number 2 option. So I'm getting a little nervous about that with Charles Clay. So we'll see. If
It's a good thing that we get.
What
get
kind of
time
game do
to
you
tinker
see
with their
Shady
lineups.
having?
What's up?
I said, what kind of game do you see Shady having?
Shady, I think he's gonna do awesome. Like he's gonna get the workload, so he's gonna produce. When he gets touches, he produces. So I wouldn't be worried about Shady.
I think you can start him. You got to feed him the ball. I think he's a solid option to start if you have him.
I'd be confident.
You can. He's always been producing, no matter where he's been. So.
That's true.
You're gonna roll with him regardless, right?
Yeah, I
And
think he's one of
Cam, I'm a little reluctant about too because he didn't show out too much. He wasn't looking sharp at all. He was missing a lot of passes downfield to Benjamin.
I'm trying
Got
to
a
see.
phone call?
They played
Last week.
They played San Francisco last week. I'm trying to see.
We got a call.
Hello.
We do got a call.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello. Who are we speaking to today?
Hey, what's up, man? You're talking to Manny. Manny Fresh, the one and only.
Little
Oh,
Manny.
you meet that
We-
one.
the-
Little
one
Manny.
of the 3 Mannys in our league.
I'm the original Manny Fresh. Don't get it twisted.
What's up, bro?
What's up,
Yeah,
Manny?
I'm the smallest one, but it's not saying very much, to be honest. I'm still pretty big.
What's up, bro?
Yeah, man.
Up
Hey,
life?
so I got a question, man.
All right.
I've been trying to get an answer from different experts, of course. I figured I'd call y'all.
Appreciate it.
Hey,
So
there you
I
go.
got Chris Hogan, I got Rob Gronkowski, and I got Brooks. All right, Cooks, my bad, Cooks. All right, there's 3 New England Patriots in the PPR league. Okay, so I'm scared to play all 3, especially after hearing the news that they're going to play a 3 tight end set with Gronk.
Okay.
So I'm kind of stuck. I mean, I feel like it's a good deal. It feels like it's going to be a high-scoring game. New Orleans Patriots, upper 50s, hopefully.
I think they're going to put up points, but having all 3 to kind of limit your options for the rest of the day.
What's your bench looking like, bro?
Yeah.
'Cause I
Yeah,
would
I
be
got
confident in Gronk and Cooks. Hogan,
Yeah, well, I
not
got
as
Corey
much.
Coleman. I got Corey Coleman
Okay.
there, and I also got Martavius Bryant.
Mm.
Okay, so
I'd be a little.
I feel
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to substitute.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, it seems like a good deal. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd call y'all and see what y'all think.
I have Martavis Bryant. I think I'm going to sit him this week. He didn't do too
For who,
much.
though?
So.
Oh,
that's-
yeah, okay. So sit him, okay.
Me personally, I have Martavis Bryant on the bench this week.
Looking at this, I might go with Coleman, Gronk, and Cooks.
Coleman, Hogan, keep him out.
Hogan.
He didn't do anything last week. I know Amendola's going to be out, right?
Amendola's
Yeah,
out.
he's out.
So that his opportunities are going to go up, but he didn't do crap last week. So I played against him, and he had like 3 points.
Yeah, he sat
in
on
the
my
PPR
bench,
league,
and he didn't do much.
Yeah, I don't think Gronk is going to want to have the back-to-back, stinker games like he did last week. So I think he's going to try to show out today. And then Cooks, he does what he does. He did good last week. I think he'll have another good game this week. I don't see New Orleans stopping that offense as good as that. They were giving up points to Bradford and Thielen with Minnesota, and nobody expected that. I think New England is going to come out to prove a point that last week was just them not being prepared or a fluke. I think they're going to come and make a statement that
that's what
we're
I'm saying.
still here.
So I could easily see Tom Brady scoring 5 touchdowns today.
They could,
true.
and once they get up, remember they might run the ball. Start running the ball.
Gillislee was vulture last week.
Yeah.
Coleman is there no doubt number one receiver. Yeah. So.
Yeah,
something to think
he seemed
about
to build a pretty good chemistry with Kaiser.
Yeah, man, they're looking pretty good. Kaiser's looking pretty good so far. It's pretty awesome to see him because he really wasn't talked about a whole lot when he got drafted, and nobody really had much expectations. But he's been lighting it up since preseason.
Yeah, I saw him on the preseason. I was actually pretty excited for Cleveland and caught myself watching one of their games. I'm like, whoa.
Me too, big time. Yeah, he is. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so it was exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like almost doing better in the NFL than he was doing in college. Like, what the hell?
I'd probably, if for your team, I would probably just sit Hogan out and keep the other two.
I'm just nervous about doing having three players on one team. I think that kills it in itself, just for me personally.
And then out of
it's
those
because
three,
you get like, I know what you're saying. It's just results off of one game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And they do, and that's Brady can spread it out, but will he is the question. And New Orleans is that bad. You have the option that you may have a good matchup, or you may just get stuck with somebody eating, and the other two just kind of sitting there not having any touches.
Yeah, and with Gronk, he was almost had a touchdown. It was very close, so that could have turned it around for him last week. Like I said, I think he's gonna have a good game. And Cooks, I don't see anybody over in New Orleans that can hold down Cooks. So
it'd be a good deep threat.
Okay. Well, appreciate y'all's help, guys.
Good
hey,
luck,
thanks
bro.
for calling
Let us know
man.
how it works out next week, man.
Yeah, for sure.
All
I
right.
gotta take it easy.
all right, man.
All right,
Appreciate
man.
you
Have a good
calling.
day. Get ready for that
Awesome.
Cowboys game.
We might as well go into the New Orleans and New England game. That's going to be one of the best fantasy matchup games.
I think so, man.
I mean, we talked about the receivers already, right? And then you got
and Gillislee, man.
Yeah.
He was a vulture down at the red zone, and they fed him. They let him eat, man. Like, that may be a repeat. I mean, Brady couldn't get it in the end zone, but they got down when they got to the red zone. They just handed it off, and they just run it. Man, it was with ease. Like, he was cutting through butter, man.
If New England happens to get up, he might have a big game.
So, and I think they will. I think that honestly, I think it's gonna be a big blowout. I think New England's gonna, like Manny said, come back and prove a point.
Yeah.
That last week was a fluke, and they're still the force to be reckoned with. And
see that, yeah, because I mean, people were freaking out about Brady. We had Marcos on here, like ready to drop him, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna come back too. And what about New Orleans? Y'all confident in any of their guys?
New Orleans looks kind of lost on
Brees.
offense last week, man.
I needed them to I just needed them to score some more points last week so I can get a win. And because I was playing against Minnesota's defense and they didn't do anything.
Right. I
So
had
I was
Peterson. I
disappointed.
dropped him.
Yeah, you dropped Peterson?
Yeah, I dropped Peterson quick because I saw that whole arguing. I was like, no, man.
We saw that
I
in
don't
our
play
league.
that. Yeah.
You dropped
you
them.
can't talk crap to coach.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You
Like,
first game.
You dropped them, and then
Cut.
someone got to pick them up and then drop them off again already before the week started. So
how was that? You got to cut him? How's that go?
you got
You got
Yeah, he's gone.
He's done. Yeah.
I don't know. Fleener, there's not really anybody on New Orleans to get excited about. Snead is out.
Michael Thomas.
And my brother was asking
Michael
about
Thomas,
Fleener.
are y'all excited? You would roll with him? For sure, right?
I think Michael Thomas might have a good game because I feel like the New Orleans might fall behind early and they'll start throwing the ball a lot. So I see Michael Thomas maybe having a good game. Other than that, I don't know. It's going to be tough.
With Malcolm Butler. That would be good.
I see New Orleans trying to put up a fight, but it's going to be New England.
It'll depend on if New England has that same atrocious defense that came out. My twin brother out there putting them out there. Are they if they have the same performance as they did, where they just they look like they were lost. They had no communication. New Orleans can be a threat to put some points. You can't count Breeze out, but I don't think they're going to be able. I think they fixed their problems.
I think so too. I'm not very confident in the New Orleans offense.
It's time for y'all to put y'all's hats back on.
Going forward,
Trash
yeah.
bags.
And what about Kansas City versus Philadelphia?
I got Kansas City edging that one out. I think they're going to be riding that big win from last week. It's going to give them a lot of confidence. I think Alex Smith is going to probably have not a repeat, but he's going to be chunking the ball a little bit more than he has, just because he's gonna feel like last week I was able to do it, I can do it again. And Philly's defense, I don't know. I think they're a little suspect to me. So I think Kansas City edges them out. It's going to be a close game to me, but I see Kansas City edging them out. I don't know if Kareem Hunt will have another game. I think he'll have a good game. I don't know if he'll have a repeat of last week.
I think he will, man. I think he will against Philly. I think he's going to have a repeat. I think Kansas may come out and dominate. For all our Chief fans out there, yeah. I think I got him winning by 2 touchdowns. I think.
I hope so. I have Tyreek Hill, so I'm hoping that he has a good game again. I like the way they move him around the field. I think he's gonna be a good asset for the Kansas City offense, and they're gonna be explosive again like they were last week. As far as Philly goes, do y'all have any starters? I mentioned Alshon Jeffrey that I'm gonna be benching him. Aguilar we talked about. The running backs, I'm not confident in those guys. Anybody?
Kelsey was quiet last week with Kansas.
Kelsey was quiet, yeah.
And I think he'll have a game this week. I don't have him in any of my leagues, but I had him last year, so I would just pay attention to him because he's definitely a big pickup.
Yeah, I like Kelsey, man. His attitude, though, he's getting him in some stuff, though.
That was the funniest thing I've ever seen, though. When he threw that flag to his tail.
He needs to calm it down. Yeah, I think he's one of those players that I think other players are noticing. Like, if you can get in his head, you might be able to take him out of the game a little bit and get him to do something stupid. Gets a stupid penalty, which he had last week, and which reminded you of that game that you're talking about.
And they had just rolled that clip talking about, I'm not going to lose my head. And he loses his head. Yeah, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, we've got to get him right. But Alex Smith is just sitting on the waiver wire. I'm tempted to even pick him up.
I thought about it for a hot second.
So I'm not the only one that's been looking there. Yeah. Just maybe a click away from getting, but
I think
I'll see how my quarterback situation looks after this week.
His previous years is what I think holds everybody back. Is he going to turn into the Alex Smith of old?
Or did he just have one good game? So
I think his running.
I think I have to give him one more week.
Yeah, but he's got people's attention.
He definitely has people's attention. I think Kansas is going to. And it's only because it's Philly too. I hope they steamroll him, man, because I can't stand the Eagles. So
Jerry, we got your back this week.
Don't start Wentz.
Yeah, I wouldn't start Wentz.
Yeah, me either. I'm rolling with Kansas City on that one.
So Jerry, we got your Chiefs this week, man.
And what about San Francisco against Seattle?
I'm going Seattle.
Seattle on the way. Russell Wilson, you think he'll have a good game?
I think he's gonna have a good game.
I got him starting in one of my leagues. I think he's gonna have he's gonna bounce back with a nice game today.
And if for whatever reason nobody gets open, I think he's gonna have success with running the ball if he has to.
Yeah, they struggled that first game. I know they didn't have Jimmy Graham didn't have a big game.
Ever since the trade, man, he hasn't done anything since he left New Orleans. And I know people were excited for him to go to Seattle, but since he's left, they're not utilizing him the way they should be, like New Orleans did, and took advantage of it, or maybe he was all hype and he just had a good quarterback. How do y'all feel about
Seattle's running game? Who do you think is going to be the one that steps up this week?
That's the big question right there. You got Chris Carson that everybody's talking about that's been holding it down since preseason. And you got Thomas Rawls coming off an injury. Lacey's there still.
I think Lacey's going to be on the back burner.
I don't count Lacey really.
If you have him, you can drop him.
Rawls is somebody, if you have patience, and especially for fantasy, then you can try to roll with him. And he's been explosive. He's proven it before. So I would think Rawls, but I'm not sure how limited he's going to be with the injury. Yeah. But Carson is making some noise too, so I picked him up as a stash guy just to keep, just in case, just to see if anybody shines. Nobody's just shined yet.
No one's taking that job. Yeah,
exactly. It's there for the taking.
And Lacey has that rapport when he was with Green Bay that he's gonna always be considered just because what he's done before and lost that weight. But I think he's getting edged out by the other guys.
Quick shout out to Adam Cordova tuning in for the first time.
What's up, bro?
What's up, Adam?
Yeah, speaking of Adam, appreciate it, man. Adam's the number. We have a Sports Cave pick'em, and just to give a shout out to everybody. Our first place is Fredo for now.
How, Fredo?
We don't know. He sucks at fantasy, but he's good at picking. Shout out to him. Our second place is Dylan, who is a high school senior out in Buffalo. So he's outdoing us with the picks. Yeah. And then we got Adam in third place in San Antonio. He's a serviceman. Thank you for your service. Salute, bro.
Shirts, Texas.
All right. Yeah. I'm not sure where that is, but I know it's that area. Appreciate you watching, bro, and appreciate you making those picks. And the love he shows on Instagram, Facebook. He's always chatting. He was actually our first Facebook chatter on our SportsCave page. So
and don't get it twisted. I'm in 4th place. So I'm a couple wins away from taking the top.
I'm way
spot
down there.
I'm at the bottom, bro.
We'll be giving updates as we go, but yeah.
Don't get it twisted, Fredo. I'm coming for that top spot.
Yeah.
Fredo said he ain't losing, and Fredo
Picks
only
for Damas in the house.
Fredo must have a few upsets because he only missed like 3.
Dude, yeah, I don't know what he had a crystal ball.
So get some lotto tickets, Fredo.
Even though Wet Dog has a good day.
Right on.
Salty self, Fredo.
Right. I think Seattle's defense is gonna have a big game against San Francisco. If I have their defense, I'm so excited.
Starting them up.
Anybody on San Francisco side you see scoring points today? Carlos Hyde.
Carlos Hyde maybe
have a tough day. Huh?
I think he's gonna have a tough day. I'd say about 10 points maybe.
If that.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Man?
I think he might, if it's later in the game, he probably
I think they're gonna
PPR points.
I think they might fall behind and step away from the running game. So
yeah, what
that
about
might hurt him.
Garcon?
Garcon's
He's
always
be
a
matched up
threat, but
with Sherman.
man, that's a tough defense to start anybody. I think over there.
When you look at the matchup as far as fantasy wise, Seattle's defense was rated as one that was good to go against for receivers, but I'm still not really confident on it.
No, I don't always trust those judgments.
Yeah, just the rest of the defense, their front 7. I think they're going to be giving Hoyer a lot of grief.
trouble.
Yeah.
Definitely got Seattle win on this one.
Definitely, I think we all
Seattle.
agree. How about Miami Dolphins and LA Chargers? The Dolphins making their debut this
I'm
week.
glad they're playing because now I get some of my players back. I get a Jai. I think. I'm thinking who's playing.
The Chargers.
We haven't seen Miami, but I'm going to give it to Miami because they got productive at the end of the season last year, and I think I'm excited to see Jay Ajayi. I think he can run the ball on the Chargers.
So what you're saying, if I can recall correctly, you picked the Chargers to win the division, but you're also picking them to go 0-2 now.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Hey, they can bounce back, bro. Well, they're going to go 0-1.
We'll see. We'll see about that. They're at Miami.
I want Miami in fantasy implications right now, man.
Devontae Parker, everybody's ready to see how he does.
I just haven't seen enough from Miami yet. I don't know if Cutler gonna be able to handle the workload over there, being their starting quarterback, or how he's gonna mesh with that locker room.
Yeah, the Chargers defense is tough, man.
Chargers gave a good game to Denver. Y'all forget Denver's. I mean, it's one of the top teams, one of the top teams that a lot of people are picking to go to the Super Bowl, or not go to the Super Bowl, but at least make the playoffs this year. So I think Miami's gonna have their hands full with San Diego. Melvin Gordon's gonna have. I think he's gonna have a good game. It's gonna be a close one, man.
Yeah. Speaking of Gordon, he went off in week 1. He did awesome.
He did good.
Yeah. I want to give the edge to the Chargers on this one, man. I don't know why. I feel like Miami's gonna be good, but I think that unexpected game being canceled kind of like set them off for their routine. I think they might be a little rusty today.
I think so.
I think Cutler has better weapons in Miami than he did in Chicago, so I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I think he'll have options, a lot more options than he did in Chicago.
I'm rolling with Rivers today against the Dolphins, and I think all of his weapons will be pretty good too. Tyrell Williams, Keenan Allen, I think they'll be pretty solid. Even Benjamin had a good game last week. Rivers, even late in the game, we always talk about it. You can't count them out, so it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm picking the Chargers on that game. Would y'all start Cutler or Devontae Parker?
I wouldn't.
Landry?
My for sure start is at Ajayi.
Ajayi for sure.
Okay.
I got
Landry,
Julius Thomas
I
starting.
think Landry will get his points. I don't know if he'll have a monster game, but I see him having a good game.
I think Cutler can spread it out, man. I think, like I said, in Chicago, I don't think he was just. I think he was just done mentally out and done. So maybe he's excited to come back. But
Hunter Henry, he was very quiet.
Yeah, very quiet. I see him bouncing back this week.
You think so?
I picked him up in the waiver wire, so I think he still can do some stuff.
He's talented.
They still need a tight end. Gates is over there, but he also was kind of quiet. So I think it wasn't more on Hunter Henry not doing what he was supposed to do. I think Denver's defense was that good on their tight ends. I mean, their linebacker core can cover tight ends. So
yeah,
I don't know. I see him having a bounce back week, at least putting up at least 10 points.
Nice. And then the Jets and Raiders.
Jets and Raiders.
I'm not gonna ever choose the Jets.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever pick
Is there
the Jets
anything to
either.
discuss as far as who's winning this week?
No. Okay. Yeah,
I think we're all on the same page.
That Jet has been grounded.
The Raiders.
The Raiders.
Yeah, I think so.
That Jet is out of
I'm
field.
still-
Start all your Raiders
I
that
think
you have.
I think Marshawn's gonna have a good game. He ate some last week. I think against the Jets he'll have a decent game.
The
Amari
Jets
Cooper's
always
gonna
have
eat.
a tough defense, but I think I will
I'm
start
hoping
pretty
Amari
much all the
Cooper
Raiders.
eats. I got him on my league.
Yeah, I got him
Yeah,
in a league, one of my
Definitely.
leagues.
Any Jets that you would start today?
Man, I don't think I have any Jets.
No.
Moving on.
Oakland shut down DeMarco Murray, and DeMarco Murray is a lot better running back than what they got.
No
you know,
Robbie
yeah.
Anderson breakout game today? No?
I wouldn't trust any Jets.
Okay.
No.
Me either. I think, yeah.
Sorry,
we'll move on to
Jacob.
the
Your
next
team
game.
sucks.
Let's see.
Who we got?
Chicago, Tampa Bay
Oh, somebody talking about Sam Bradford is out?
is
With
out.
a sore knee?
Who's in? Would that be a Teddy Two Gloves, or who would be in there?
No, they have the other. I think they have someone above him that would start.
Is it
I
Chris?
can't
I don't remember. They had Christian
Like
Ponder
the
back in the
Vikings.
day. Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're gonna lose.
We missed a shout out for Angel tuning in. Also, shout out to you, Angel.
What's up, Angel?
Appreciate you tuning in.
I believe that may be Manny
That's
too.
Manny.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Thanks for the
So
call.
Thanks for the call, bro.
And then
Appreciate it.
Rafael Salcedo's in.
What's up, Rafa?
We're all a little Rafa this morning.
Yeah, I was very Rafa
He was
this
in
morning.
Raffaville.
Extra Rafa.
Shout out to that
I was-
Pedialyte.
I was almost gonna have to pull over on the side of the highway and let him go.
Oh
'Cause
my God.
Ugo
that shit
brought,
wasn't gonna cut it in my car.
just so you know, Ugo brought Pedialyte in his diaper bag this
In my
morning.
diaper bag, yes. I carry on
He
today.
said Peter
Some
Light and
baby
baby
powder.
powder.
It's strawberry lemonade. It is
Yeah,
delicious. It was a little. I needed some ice, but it works. It does this morning. I feel a whole lot better. If anybody that has a late night with some drinking, I definitely recommend some Pedialyte in the
So if
morning.
you can't get to the Manila, get you some Peter Light.
Yeah.
Pedialyte just as good.
Yeah, that game, that
How
fight
many of
night
y'all
was
out
pretty
there
rough.
could
The
Ooh,
fight
really
night
good.
was rough, but that was. We'll get to that. That was a must enjoy
Yeah,
fight.
Definitely,
Yeah, but
definitely.
we'll get to that
So
in
it
just
looks
a minute.
like Case Keenum will be playing.
Case
Oh,
Keenum,
okay,
that's
Case
good.
Case Keenum's pretty good. He's been pretty good when he was with the Rams and when he was a backup. And
I don't think they
Old
would
There's gonna
Missouri
be a whole
Tiger.
lot of Dalvin Cook today.
Dalvin Cook,
Yeah, boy.
definitely.
Whew.
Yeah,
So you
good
got
luck on
Dalvin
that.
Cook, definitely play him today. If you
That's
weren't already, I mean, just
Yeah,
in case.
for sure.
There was a
All in
lot
on
of
Dalvin
rookies
Cook.
that are definitely gained everyone's trust after week one.
Yeah. for
Man,
sure.
the rookies are stepping up this year so far, man. Some impact players.
Yeah.
Chicago and Tampa.
Yeah, I can't wait to get let Evans out of the garage.
Me too,
today.
man.
I needed him, but I was still
Man,
able to win.
I got
God,
Jameis
yeah.
Winston as my starting quarterback today, and I feel like he's going to have a monster game against Chicago.
Oh yeah,
I hope
think
so.
He's
too.
got some nice, shiny weapons on the offensive side. Got a new tight end, got a new wide receiver,
Jay
Deshaun
Howard.
Jackson.
Yeah, Deshaun Jackson. Yo, dudes are killing my ear. So y'all both started Jackson or what?
I got
I
Jackson.
don't even have him, but I just feel like
I
don't-
feel like Winston's gonna have a monster game.
think
I
so.
do have Winston.
I have
so
him in my flex, and I have D Jackson. Chris has Jameis. So,
Right.
and then I got Matt, and he's got Julio. So we're
Right.
both playing on the matchup. So,
Nice.
but I think Tampa's gonna have a good game, man. I think they're ready to come out and play.
Yeah.
So speaking on this game,
Great.
fantasy waiver wire pickup of the week, Cohen.
Oh yeah.
Cohen
I had to roll
was
with
a
him. I
good
had the
pick.
first priority. I had to roll with him. He was good.
Yeah,
I dropped
Gary-
Thomas
Gary
Ross for him. I
snatched him in
couldn't
our
do
league.
that. Yeah. So anybody that watched him.
I was targeting
his
him on the
highlights.
waiver wire. So
He's PPR
for
machine,
him,
man.
for him not even being spoken of, starting the season to go into almost a 50% split with
Howard.
Howard. I mean that tells you something. And
Right.
and had a beast of a game.
Right. And
I heard
Howard
way
still
more-
produced too. Yeah.
Yeah, Howard still produced, but I mean you heard more about Cohen.
Oh,
In
definitely.
our league, he got
He
all
was
the points.
he was
catches
flashy,
he got.
man. He was flashy. He can catch.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
give him some open space, and that boy would be gone.
Yeah, I got Howard in one league and Cohen in the other. So I'm like,
Like
hey,
that.
either one of y'all. I think, but they've done it before. Like, they've had Howard and Langford at the same time, and they
Mhm.
both produced, and then you're able to play them both. So
Thanks
think
for the
they're
love,
leaning
Ronnie. He
towards
said best show ever.
good. Thanks, bro. Appreciate that, Ronnie.
Locos
But yeah,
Peru.
I would roll with them. Cameron Brate, someone that nobody ever talks about. He's very productive, and I think he's still going to be putting up numbers too, even though Howard's there. Rookie tight ends usually take a little bit to get adjusted to the
yeah.
league, and the blocking schemes, everything that they have to go through. How about Chicago receivers? Anybody that y'all would roll with? No.
They got wide
Tight
receivers in
end.
Chicago?
They do. They happen. Kendall Wright would probably be the only one of
The only one that would consider
that's left because Kevin White was gone. They lost their other receivers. Meredith's gone, so yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not confident in any of their options.
So definitely a Tampa win
Bay
on this
defense might be somebody to look at.
Chicago did play really tough against Atlanta, though.
They did.
Yeah.
You know, Atlanta was supposed to be a Super Bowl favorite, and they held them down.
Yeah, they're physical.
So their defense, their defense is somebody to look out for maybe on the waiver wire later on. I'm not saying they're going to be the best. So I'm not saying that Chicago's going to win a bunch of games, but their defense look good, man. To hold Atlanta's weapons like that, I mean, they held them for under 20 points. So, I mean, it's going to be, and it came down to the very end, too. So, we'll see.
Who you got edging it out?
I got Tampa Bay on this one.
I
think they're hungry to play. I think they're hungry for a win. I think they want to show everybody that they're for real about the preseason hype. So, we'll see.
I'm going Tampa.
And then we got Detroit, New York Giants. That's going to be exciting,
I'm going to go with Detroit on this one. Based on what the Giants performed last week, man, they look horrible.
And even with Beckham coming back?
Even with Beckham coming back. I think Detroit, the Detroit slinging it against Arizona is pretty good defense. I think that it proves that Matt Stafford's going to have a good game, I think, again.
I got Detroit edging it out just because they had a tough opponent last week in Arizona, and they, fell behind and were able to come back and win that game. And to me, it's going to be tough, though, because, their running game didn't look as strong for Detroit. And with the way that the Giants, their defensive front being one of the top fronts in the league, defensive-wise, they're going to get to Stafford. But I still think that Detroit has enough to edge it out. I think the Giants, we don't even know if Beckham is playing. If he's not out, if he's out, definitely Detroit. If he's in, it'll be closer. But I still feel Detroit edging it out.
I agree too. Just based on what Ugo said, the Giants' offense not looking so good, and Stafford looking good. Galladay's a weapon. They got Marvin Jones.
That was another waiver wire pickup of the
week. He's been steady since preseason, and he came through. And lucky for whoever was able to get him. I mean, they still got Golden Tate. Yeah, who's one of the best possession receivers in the game. He's underrated.
He gets a lot of touches, too.
Yeah, he does. And he gets a lot of underneath
They still have Theo Riddick. He's very good for them drop downs. He can catch.
Yeah, they got weapons. So, Ebron's got a lot of size. He had a quiet game last week. Yeah. I don't know if I'd start him with confidence this week against the Giants.
Do you see Marshall coming back having a better game than last week? I need him
to. We really needed to. I mean, he is Brandon Marshall. You would think, I mean, he that's a historically bad game for him, and my bad for letting y'all pick him. But, yeah, I think he'll have a lot better game against Detroit. He should, especially if Beckham comes, and it's going to help open up a lot of things for him.
I'm still waiting for them to argue on the sideline. I want to see that shot when they're arguing on the sideline and they don't get the ball.
Yeah,
that's going to happen.
Yeah, Evan Ingram did okay. He didn't put up a lot of numbers, but he got some solid catches. So
Sterling Shepard's the one that got all the points.
Shepard did well. Yeah, he did really well. So
in a PPR league, he got a lot of touches.
I picked him up on the waivers too because he was there, and I was like, I like what he did, and he was better than what I had at that option at the time.
Shout out to the Dallas defense, no touchdowns for none of the Giants.
Very nice, and whoever started them, with confidence. I believe Fredo, I'm sure he had them. Yeah, and then the Giants starters, anybody? Beckham, of course, you would roll with him if he plays.
If he plays, he's top receiver, one of the top receivers. You got to kind of just throw him in there, but.
Any running backs for the Giants that you would start with confidence?
No,
not at all.
I had Paul Perkins down deep on the bench just because I needed him.
Yeah, Eli's on the bench.
Me too.
If he's even on your team. Better options. Yeah, he's still on my team for now, just because of the threat with Beckham. But
they can on paper, man. They look like they could be a threat, but they just got to get it in.
Right.
I mean,
but I am trying to slip in Alex Smith's DM, so we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. And we should recap the Cincinnati versus Houston game.
Snooze Fest?
Yeah, it looked like a JV football game.
Back through the Thursday night curse.
I've seen better games in the GISD at Williams Stadium.
I saw a better game on Saturday at the Pee Wee Field.
The way that Kansas City, New England started off, I thought Thursday night games might have turned around.
No,
I don't know, man. After last Thursday's game,
it's hard to watch.
There was some cool plays to watch. That welcome to the NFL moment with Deshaun Watson getting thrown into yesterday.
Yeah, that was a good set.
That Geno Atkins threw him to another dimension. It was pretty awesome. But
And then
yeah,
JJ
that
won.
game though, if you had nothing invested, it was hard to watch.
It was hard to
If you
watch,
didn't-
man.
I didn't have any fantasy players playing for me
I
or
had
against
players
me.
against me, so
Yeah.
I was watching DeAndre Hopkins and their defense. I was like,
stepped
since
up.
he just scored me
Hopkins-
some points.
Yeah,
man.
Hopkins has been getting better than
Yeah.
he was last
He-
year.
he-
Last year was horrible.
I think he had. I'm playing Chris, and he had DeAndre Hopkins and the defense. I think he's already up 38-0 because I don't have
Yeah.
anybody. So
And
Yeah.
speaking of the Bengals, the Back to the Future play,
There you
if
go.
I let y'all know a few weeks before the season started, there was somebody who was going to get fired. I felt like it was going to be the head coach.
they
there
spared him
was
this
a
week.
scapegoat and let him make it and got rid of the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I said it before I just felt like that Cincinnati kept taking a step back, and now they've really taken a step back. They're 0-2, haven't scored a touchdown in 2 weeks, so that's tough to start off the season with no touchdowns.
Is there anybody else you're trying to fire, Manny?
I
I still think the coach. If
I
they
think
take
he's next,
another
man.
loss, he's next.
I think
I
he's
still feel like
Lewis?
he's gonna get fired this
Yeah.
year.
I think the offensive coordinator was a scapegoat because they
Yeah.
they have
Sending
a
a
contract.
message,
Yeah, but
Put him high alert.
Yeah,
I
they
think
look
he's
bad.
next.
No touchdowns with Andy Dalton.
their offense
AJ
was struggling.
Green,
I mean,
Jeremy Hill.
AJ Green had that one big play, but other than that, he was quiet.
Gio Bernard.
Yeah,
You got all these
Nixon-
weapons.
Nixon.
Yeah, bro. You got all these weapons.
They
That's
should have let
inexcusable.
Mixon run more too.
Yeah,
They
though, I
should.
think.
Yeah, they need to let things go with him too. So, yeah, that's
Cincy's not
frustrating.
How do you feel about Dalton? Is it time to cut him?
He's got it.
Yeah, hey, right behind him is AJ McCarron. He's been a solid winner like throughout his high school career, college career. He's been pretty
He's a
good.
winner.
You might want to give him a chance to see what he can do. I mean,
I
he can't
think
do
if they
much
lose
worse
one
than
more, they
Dalton.
might.
They
All these
might.
turnovers
looked
Dalton's
rough
had.
2 weeks in a
Yeah.
row, man.
Yeah, definitely. And what about on the other side, Houston, Deshaun Watson? What do y'all think about him?
He's looking great, man.
He's got some things to learn. His pocket presses to me right now
Yeah.
is in where it should be at this stage of the in the NFL. Everybody's fast.
yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You can
that's true.
run. You got yourself that big old yard. That big touchdown run.
50-yard.
But at the same time, there were too many times where he couldn't feel the pocket presses. He wasn't getting rid of the ball when he should have. When he had felt, some of these quarterbacks, the great quarterbacks, you see them and they feel the presence of the pocket. They can feel when that rush is coming, when it's time to get rid of the ball. I felt like he held on to the ball a little bit too many times.
I think it'll come with time.
But
yeah.
it'll
I
come with time, though. I think he's definitely going to be their starter now. I think he proved to them that he can be a starter in this league. But they also had like 20 players that were out on Thursday too.
Yeah.
So they were down to their practice squad tight end on Thursday. So
I think his presence of being able to move in the pocket, though, and then being a running threat is what's going to help him out. And yeah, it just takes time. Some guys have it right there. Some guys have to work at it. But he scored a touchdown. And I think he's definitely going to be their starter. So he's looking good on that end.
running back wise, Houston, Lamar Miller had an okay game. That's about what I expected from him. I actually benched him because I had his ceiling at about 11 or 12 points.
Right, that's
basically what he got
every week. You pretty
And
much
now-
can expect that,
now
but
it
it's
looks
still
like
not that
he's-
bad though. It could be worse. There's worse
Yeah, I
running
mean, he
backs out
did
there.
good, but now it's starting to look like he's also in a timeshare with Foreman.
Yeah, from Texas
Yeah.
UT. Yeah, for Dante Foreman's good.
He's a good back,
He's
man.
good. He's solid. I like his running
Maybe
style.
somebody to watch on the waiver
Yeah.
wire. I'm not saying go and pick him up.
He's got
You
young
can if you
wheels.
want, but
Keep your eye on him.
Keep an
Miller's
eye
got a
on
lot of miles on those legs, so
Mhm.
there's
So-
definitely something. I also wanted to ask you guys a question about my own team. Who would y'all start, Charles Clay or Austin Hooper?
I think you have more upside or more potential with Hooper.
Big plays,
I think Clay. I mean, like I said, they're playing a tougher defense with Carolina.
right?
Hooper shows you last week. He doesn't need a lot of plays, but he can take any
You can take
play.
the big one
Did
down.
you see that stiff arm he laid on that dude? He embarrassed the
I
crap
mean, he
out of
had
him.
128 yards last week.
Yeah,
touchdown.
he did also. That's what made me really pick him up. I mean, I was already he was on my radar. I had Jack Doyle, so I dropped
I
Jack
got
Doyle
Hooper
for
starting
him.
in one of my leagues this week.
And
I benched him last week, and I went with somebody else, and I got burnt on it.
Right.
I believe in the hype that he can at least put up the points he's expected to put up. So
I appreciate it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna roll with Hooper.
and then not to mention that the focus is going to be on their star receivers. So I think it'll leave room or
open.
opportunities for him to be open.
And viewers, if y'all have an opinion on that, let us know. I mean, I also had a question about Emmanuel Sanders. I'm thinking, as I said, I was thinking about playing him against the Cowboys, but I also have Alshon Jeffrey. I'm thinking of benching in favor of Sanders. And then I also have Tyrell Williams, who I am rolling with instead of Sanders. So those are two. If y'all have any opinions on that,
Ronnie was agreeing on Marvin Lewis should have fired himself and his staff years ago.
Oh wow, yeah. Hey
And,
man, he's been
Cordova,
trying to get him fired.
Adam agreed with us as well.
Is it about
Ronnie.
Hooper?
No, about Marvin Lewis.
Marvin Lewis,
fired.
he's next. He's
done.
going him.
He said there's no way he should have still had a job today.
Yeah.
The offensive coordinator was the scapegoat on
He
this
was the
one.
scapegoat. I think that was just.
They both have blame, but I felt like it's time for Lewis to go, man.
Yeah,
He's been
man,
there.
They called it in the preseason.
He was a strong coach when they started. You know, he looked good. He won a lot of games. They made the playoffs a lot of times, but they're regressing.
Yeah.
I think the game might have been.
It's his last on the contract too.
Yeah.
So he's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
I got you.
Sanders, back to Adolph on Amanda Sanders, man. I'm iffy about starting him too, but I think he'll be able to get open and get points, man.
Against the Cowboys young
Against
secondary.
the Cowboys secondary, but I don't know, man. It's one I'm still teetering and not sure who am I going to start him or sit him.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start him in one against
In one?
Alshon Jeffrey in one league, and I think I'm gonna roll with Tyrell Williams
other
in the
one?
other
Yeah.
league. I
Over
could see
Alshon,
him.
definitely.
You know, he went to SMU, so you know he's gonna want to step up against the Cowboys,
Especially
too.
against his
you
own
know
team,
what I mean? I think he's gonna do okay. Simeon, he needs to spread the ball out a little more.
He might have to this
Yeah,
week.
he kept going to Fowler last week, and it was killing me. And that helps no one
Throw it
type of stuff.
around.
Yeah,
All right,
man.
there was a
in the
lot
red
of
zone.
that helps no one last week.
Yeah, all over the place. So the fantasy scores were pretty low. The NFL ratings were pretty low.
They were.
Yeah.
So the quality of the games, I think overall, were pretty crappy last week. But hopefully this week they'll be a little better.
Right, there was a lot of unexpected things or unexpected players and teams. from
Teams
last
and scores
week.
last week. I was like, what?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and big shout out to JJ Watt too for raising. Was it 37
30
million?
some 33, I think.
It's 30 plus
30
million.
something,
That's
30 over
awesome.
30 million.
Big shout out to
You're the real
him.
MVP.
And the way he played too,
Yeah.
it was remarkable.
With a hurt finger.
Yeah, and that,
Oh
that
man,
last
did y'all see him when he came out? Man, his standing ovation
with the
was
Texas
awesome,
flag
man.
and everything. Or was it a Texas
Yeah, it
flag?
was a Texas
And he
flag.
has cleats or Texas
Yeah, and
cleats.
then he made the play at the end of the game to sew it up to not taking out that lineman.
That
He
boy
picked
wasn't
him
ready.
up like a
He
rag
wasn't
doll.
ready.
Yeah, so
That was a nice,
big shout
clean,
out to
solid
him.
tackle.
It was cool to see him be the player of the game,
Yeah.
considering everything he's been doing.
Yeah.
Man,
You can't help
he
but
was
root for
making
him
some
right
moves,
now.
boy. He
He
was
was.
doing some swim moves that
He was
Whew,
working
yeah.
that move, man.
He looked like the defensive player of the year
Yeah.
candidate.
He
for
might
sure.
I
win.
definitely think he's got comeback player of the year.
He's got come, but he
Both.
might win defensive
He
player
might
in both.
win
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
He looked pretty awesome. So
Any other games we got to recap?
no,
or
not as far as
Sums it up for
NFL.
NFL.
Yeah, NFL good. You want to move on to college or?
Don't want to talk about the fight.
I don't
Yeah.
talk
Oh,
about
let's
the
talk
fight.
about the fight. Yeah, for
That
sure.
fight. I know y'all watched that fight last night.
Yes. You can tell
Man.
we watched it if you're
We
looking at
watched
us.
it. There
Yeah.
was no way anybody should have missed that fight last night. That was
That
that was
was
probably one of the greatest
instant
fights.
Definitely
classic.
candidate for fight of the year.
Instant
So
classic.
instant classic. You'll be hearing from that one for a long time.
Right.
There's definitely a debate in regards to the
Definitely a
outcome.
debate. I don't know what that judge saw, what fight she was watching. I understand. I get the 114 to 114. That might have been, but I don't know about that 110 to 118. That was
Yeah.
8-point difference. That's
I think it was
respect,
I think it was a close fight. I do give Triple G the win. I think he did do enough to win. I don't know. I definitely don't agree with the outcome of that one judge. I could see how it could have been a draw, but I still think Triple G really did win. Canelo was being accurate, but he also wasn't throwing as much as Triple G. Triple G was being the aggressor in the fight. They did both land a lot of big shots, though, man. Canelo, I think, was letting himself on the ropes too much.
Way
I don't
too
know.
much.
I don't know
Way too much.
what his deal was. Every time he
likes
got
to do
back
that.
out,
He likes to do that. I've seen him do that in
Yeah.
a lot of fights,
You
but
can't
against
do
Triple
that.
G, you
Yeah.
can't do that.
No.
And I think he started realizing later in the fight, he started moving around and getting off the ropes.
with his power, yeah.
Yeah.
With Triple G's power, you can't do that. You can't play
And
with
and
him.
his corner was telling him to get off the ropes. That's not where you need to be. They were telling him to get off the ropes, box him, get in the middle of the ring. And when he would get in the middle of the ring, he was doing good.
back and
He
forth,
did good.
man.
Yeah.
And Canelo did good. I agree with Manny. I think Triple G won it. I think he out jabbed him. He was
By a
able to
lot.
do multiple jabs at a time, 3-4 jabs and combos, and he was backing Canelo up most of the fight. So
I'm just glad they gave us the fight that I expected it was going to be.
Yeah, a
definitely.
good fight.
I've followed both of their careers. I am a fan of both of them, even though I was talking shit about Triple G last night. If, like I told everybody else before the fight, if it would have been any other boxer that Triple G was going to, I would have gone with Triple G. We got a caller on the line, so let's see what we got today.
What's happening?
What's happening?
Hello.
Hello. Hello, you there?
They got scared.
Don't be scared.
he's
Call
scared.
back.
It's okay. Call back. Call
Call
back.
right
Call
back.
Whatever that was, call back. We got you.
Yeah.
I think both of them realized that these two guys both have a chin, and they can both take blows. And man,
I didn't
it was
see
back.
neither one of them getting knocked down.
None of them were. They were
out.
telling each other nope, like they didn't do nothing, and back and forth. But yeah, I don't understand why Canelo kept on going back into the ropes. Like that's not how you would fight. I would think you would need to fight Triple G.
Yeah, Triple G
I
took
think he
his
was-
shots too. Triple G took he took a lot of Canelo's best shots.
Yeah.
Canelo
He
was
was-
throwing
he-
some haymakers on.
Hey, I was surprised Triple G the way he was cutting the ring off on Canelo. That was his footwork wasn't great. Canelo had better footwork,
Good
but
point.
Triple G had a way to cut that ring off
Yeah,
on
he's-
him really good.
He stepped up his technical boxing game big time in the fight, and it showed big time.
Yeah, I saw him landing a little bit more combos, which he's not known to do a lot of combos. He used to landing some combos. Canelo landed some combos, some good uppercuts. Man, he caught Triple G in the throat.
Yeah.
Man,
He was throwing
I was
some nice
surprised
ones,
that
man.
Triple G didn't take the body more in the beginning because Canelo left his hands open and I was thinking, man, hit the body, and it was a different fight than I thought it was going to be, but it was definitely a good fight.
Yeah.
There's hands down that was the fight of the year that we
Right.
needed. That
In the rematch, take my money.
go ahead, let's sign us up.
Knowing the way that the fight schedules are going, I'm thinking probably Cinco de Mayo will be
Maybe.
the next big fight day.
Is
that a
Canelo
rematch?
makes
Yeah, I
sense,
don't think they're going to do it too soon.
yeah,
rematch, give him time to heal
I can
up.
see it. I
give
can
some
see
time
it
for
being
the
Cinco de
promote.
Mayo maybe,
Right?
but I mean, it
What-
could be sooner than that.
Hey,
It could be
Mexican
maybe
style.
around March maybe. I mean, if they do end up doing the rematch, I don't know if they'll wait until May, but that would be a good time to have the fight. A lot of fights get done in May, so
Yeah. Hey, you never know, but it's definitely going to happen. Both of them mentioned it, that they're willing to do that and they wanted to do that. No one likes a draw. So
No,
you know, they're
it
both
definitely
pissed
lived
about
up to
it
the
no matter
hype.
what.
It was one of the highest grossing gates for a prize fight like that. It was definitely sold out. Everybody was in the house. It was every bit of what they hyped it up to be. We all knew what it was going to be.
Yeah.
Everybody was calling for this fight for the last 2 years. I'm glad it was made in time where we didn't wait too long, or one box is already too old, or somebody's already out of the prime. I think both of them they're at the peak of their career. They're where they needed to be to make this fight happen.
Right.
To me, it's probably going to be live up to be one of the best fights in this decade at least.
Yeah, it could become a trilogy. Also,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, like some of those Marquez Pacquiao fights, something like that. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with the way the first fight went,
Or
with the
some,
draw. Let's say Triple G goes and knocks Canelo out. Canelo's
Right.
gonna want his chance again.
I kind of see this kind of being like Eric Morales and Barrera.
There we go.
type of
That's the
fights,
classic
you know what I'm
one.
saying?
That's probably the most classic one when it comes to Mexican boxing. So
Mexican
those
style,
were
and they
awesome.
both definitely are Mexican style boxers, man. There was hit me, I'm gonna hit you right back.
Yeah, that was the
strong
best part of
chin,
the
from
fight,
the
man.
first
power
round.
punching.
Yeah, from the first round on, it was on.
Yeah,
was a good
Triple
fight.
G's jab, man. It was on point last night. Canelo was landing more power punches. He overall he was more accurate with total punches thrown and more accurate on power punches. Triple G was more accurate on jabs, but he was also the busier boxer. He was throwing more than what Canelo was. I was expecting to see Canelo be a little bit more busier at times, and he could have followed up a couple of his punches with some more punches, and I
Yeah.
didn't see that.
Some
from him.
people were saying he was running too. What do y'all think about that?
He definitely, I think that plays in part that he was on the ropes the whole time, but that was
Yeah.
his choice.
He had to, when
he-
it was,
yeah,
he
I
had to
don't-
run to the left a little
yeah,
bit.
he
when
kind of
was
had to
getting
go get
cut
out
up
of
on
the
right.
corner. But
Adam's saying this boxing needed this fight.
Oh, for sure.
What better than a rematch of this magnitude?
Right.
He said
Yeah.
the sport needs it. I definitely
Big
agree that
time.
boxing
So.
needed this fight.
Big time.
It's definitely putting boxing back on the map. There's some exciting fights coming up. There's some definitely exciting boxers that I'm keeping up with that I've been waiting on their next fights. We got Dallas's own Errol Spence coming up. We got the Charlo brothers. We got
They're
Terrence
awesome.
Crawford. Yeah, y'all don't forget about Keith Thurman. He ain't had a fight,
One
since
time.
he whooped up on Danny Garcia. But man, Keith Thurman is definitely a pound for pound king.
Thurman.
Porter.
Keith- so,
yeah, there's a lot of
Porter,
good fighters.
Stevenson. There's a lot of good fighters to look out for, man. Boxing is definitely not dead. So, and this fight definitely is bringing it back on the map.
Yeah, Triple G gained a lot of followers, a lot of notoriety from this one, and now he's going to be all pay-per-view going forward.
Now he's
He
gonna
has
get the
to
big
be.
fights. Yeah.
Got a
Yeah.
question from Raphael. How much longer can Triple G box at this level?
Man,
the way he looked last night, I'd give him a few more years.
Three.
The way that everything is going now, look how Hopkins is fighting in his 50s. I don't think he's going to fight to his 50s, but
I can see him fighting to 40, maybe I'd say 42, 43 at this type of level.
And even then, when you get to that age, man, then you get real technical and you bust more like a Mayweather. You get defensive and get your punches move out the way, get your punches out the way, and score points.
I see a solid 5 years at least that he can fight at this level. Yeah, before he starts to maybe slow down.
I definitely for the rematch want them to be a lot more aggressive and just go out there. I mean, I know they kind of have to
respect each other.
Yeah, respect each other, but there was too much feeling around. I think the first half of the first round, and then they started like it took like a minute and a half for them someone throw a punch, and but I definitely when they got in the middle and they were just sharing punches back and forth. That's when everybody got excited, and that's what people want to see.
You couldn't get up. It was one of those fights where you had to sit and watch each round by round. It wasn't let me go get a drink here and there during the fights. You had to watch each round.
Yeah,
it was exciting.
That's definitely a good fight. It's well worth it. Well worth the money for that.
Compared to the fight
if you didn't get to watch it on pay-per-view, they are going to replay it Saturday night. So if you want to check it out,
if you didn't watch it, then the spoiler alert. I guess I don't know. You should. I think everybody knows what happened.
To tell you, watching the wrong show.
Yeah, what were you watching? But yeah, that was a fight, man. I definitely lived up to the hype, and I was excited to see them finally get in the ring and duke it out. And I just next time definitely the whole draw to me it was just so they can do a rematch. I think that's just the way I feel. Like it. Come on.
Like, I think even earlier in the fight, though, you could tell it's like, okay, like round 6, you're like, okay, there's going to be a rematch. And there's probably going to be another. Just the way they were matching up. But, I mean, the draw is what it is.
It is what it is.
No one won. No one lost.
I think I think that's a good setup for the next couple of fights. They may fight a couple more times, and then we'll get a true, like, okay, now you can afford to lose.
We got a caller on the line.
Go ahead, caller.
What's happening?
Hey.
Hello.
What's up, guys? It's Raphael.
Hey, what's up, man?
Ralph? We appreciate you tuning in, man.
Yeah, no, you guys are doing a hell of a job. I know there's a lot of work that goes in behind putting this together, and you guys are making it look easy.
Appreciate that, man.
Thank you, man.
That Pedialyte's helping out.
We just act like we know what we know.
Yeah, we are. We're all in this together, brother.
I had a suggestion. Watching the fight and previous mega fights, the boxing community as a whole. And I'm not a big boxing fan, but I appreciate the sport. But what I don't appreciate is when we get a fight like this, and half of the world said, or not even half. I mean, 90% of the world saying there was a clear-cut winner. Why isn't boxing adopting something like a basketball, right? Or like the NBA,
like a Dana White for
NFL.
UFC, yeah.
Where they a jab is worth 1 point, clear cut, and a power shot to the body is worth 3 points. I mean, something like that. To at the end of the fight, there's a clear cut winner based on points and not by the perception of some judge who has never stepped a foot in the ring.
Man, that's a great point.
Hey, that's how they run the Olympics, is on a point basis.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I heard a lot of that too, even before the fight, that boxing needs like a figure like UFC has Dana White, because right now it's all these different alphabet organizations. And it's scattered, so it's hard.
And all the different promoters.
All these promoters and different companies.
They definitely need to have a more consistent point system as to how they call a fight.
That too, yeah. I think it can be a lot more uniform, like he's saying, a lot more clear cut on that, because that scoring was way off.
Way off.
Like the one judges and the ladies in particular. That scoring was way off of everybody else's. So
and that takes a whole lot of politics. I could see the tight ones,
like y'all said, yeah. So I know you were going for Triple G, right? Raphael?
Yeah. I had some money on Triple G.
Okay, so I mean, that's another thing too, because I mean, I know if you bet to go with the distance, then that's one thing you probably won. But if you if you bet and you saw your fighter win and he didn't win, then I'd be pretty pissed.
You're counting your money all the way up to
I would have been too. I would have been.
They announced the winner, the decision.
We had somebody at our fight party too saying they had plans with that money. I agree, bro. I really sincerely feel like Triple G should have won that. I'm a Canelo fan, but I think Triple G should have won that.
I was a fan of both. I was going for Canelo last night. I definitely wanted him to win, but I definitely agree that Triple G won.
Yeah, so
it was a close fight. I can see how it could maybe been called a draw, but I definitely think Triple G won.
It is bad for boxing though, because like he's saying, the casual fan is looking at it and saying, "Oh, there's boxing at it again. They're fixed again. That's why I don't watch it." And a lot of people say, like he's saying they prefer the MMA or UFC over boxing now because it's more clear cut.
The system needs to be in place. I don't know why they don't do it. They do Olympic style like drug tests and all that. Why don't they just do the point system too?
Right.
Yeah. So,
good point, Ralph.
Raphael, how you feeling about the Cowboys today? Oh, my bad. Go ahead. You were gonna say something?
Man. I'm feeling good. Getting ready to head out to a little barbecue.
There you go.
For the game. Looking forward to his Dak sophomore year.
Yeah.
We'll see how he bounces back. A lot of people, ESPN, NFL, they want to see more out of Dak Prescott, but man, and I know we're talking his homers here, but this guy put up numbers that no other rookie has.
Bro,
and he's going for the record, man.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah,
2 passes to get the record, man.
Yeah. So, and a lot of them that say, well, now that the teams have seen him, that the NFL has seen him one full year, they had the Giants, Philly, and the Redskins had twice. Right, to try to get the exception of the Giants, but he carved them up, or at least
everybody
carved them up. So
hey,
I got to go pick up my boy from Sunday school. Guys, keep up the great work.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate your
call in.
Thank you for the call. That was a good point, man, about Dak
getting back onto some football, man. He's got 2 passes, and you called it right. You said Cole and Witten.
I called it. That was me. I was saying Cole Beasley and Witten for history. Yeah, I'm hoping so. Yeah, he's gonna get to the 500. What was it?
It's 500 passing attempts without an interception, without less than 5 interceptions. He's got 4.
Okay, there we go. So,
what's that? Another caller?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought we had another caller, but yeah, man. It'll be exciting. It's a good day for sports today. I'm excited to go watch some football. Got about an hour till we go tinker my lineups.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna red zone it today, man. I need some rest.
Yeah,
I'm tired
too, bro.
I don't know about barbecues out there. As good as it sounds, being outside, I think the bed and the TV sound just as nice. So
good luck to everyone.
What's happening and anything for the what's happening other than the games today? It's looking like there's gonna be some good games on today. Today's a perfect day to watch football, especially if all you guys that watched the fight last night that need some recovery. The noon games sound nice. So
that's pretty much what I plan to do. Just thank you for watching. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I know it's early. Thanks for calling in.
Right.
Thank you.
We appreciate everybody's support, man. We definitely enjoy doing this for y'all, and as much as we enjoy it, we enjoy y'all tuning in and calling in as well.
Definitely appreciate our community.
Appreciate all the calls and all the chats today. You guys were up and early with us. Hey, this is episode 8 for all of us sports fans at DaSportzCave. I'm Juice.
Adolf.
Big man in the house.
Thank y'all for tuning in, man. Y'all tune in next week. The show will be ready tomorrow morning.
Thank you for watching The Sports Cave on #Champs.
#Champs is a TwistedCurve production.